be a master of Pokémon. Do you have the skills to be number one? I want to take the ultimate step, find the courage to be bold, to risk it all and not forget the lessons that I hold.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 114 of the Pokémon Snapshot. How are you doing tonight, Josh?
I'm making it, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad we're finally back onto our typical schedule, and it's a movie episode, which makes this such a bigger episode than usual. It's a supersized episode. What have you been up to recently?
Not a lot. We just finished up state testing at school, so I've been doing all that. State testing is the worst thing. I mean, you've been there. You know how it is. You know how much it sucks.
Kyrie is in the middle of doing that right now.
What grade?
Fourth.
So stupid. But if you get me on a roll talking about state testing, then this is going to be like a 12-hour episode, and I don't think you or I or anyone listening would listen any further than this. So, what about you? What have you been doing?
So there is a new video game that came out yesterday called Tomodachi Life: Living the Dream on the Nintendo Switch.
Does this
You can
have
also play
anything? Does this have anything to do with Tamagotchi?
No, this is so Tomodachi Life was a game on the 3DS, and this is its sequel. I think the original game came out, I think there's like 15 years ago, 14 years ago, something like that. If math is mathing, not quite, maybe 12 years ago, something like that. And what this is you create your Miis and you import them, and they all live in the original. I think it was a city. This time it's on an island. You all live on an island. So I have me, I have my wife, I have my two kids. Josh, you are on my island.
Am on the island, and I love getting my updates about what my me counterpart is doing on the island.
Yes, Josh is so fun. And that's just the thing. You just kind of live. It's not one of those games you're going to play for hours on end during the day. I just check in every now and then. I just unlock the ability for it to give me a news update every morning. Josh was the star of my first news update because he was trying to refuse to do leg day, and my wife was the angel on his shoulder and I was the devil on his shoulder telling him to skip it. It sounds about right.
And who did I listen to, Jeff?
You listen to me. How I should.
I for sure listened to the devil on my shoulder.
And what I didn't tell you is then after that he goes, now let's go talk to what people think about this. And it goes to my daughter, Kyrie, my oldest, and her character goes, I don't even know why I'm here.
You're not the star of the show, Kyrie. Go do whatever kids do, fourth graders do.
But it's fun. Josh's character also said he needed a new outfit, and me being me decided I'm not going to give him a typical outfit. So Josh is walking around in pink short shorts and a pink crop top.
I have never looked better.
And then he needed an umbrella, and so I gave him an umbrella, probably because he was getting so sunburned from his pasty skin all showing.
For sure. I'm not this needy in real life, am I?
No. You've never asked me for an umbrella.
Okay.
But it's a fun game. I'm sure as we go, I will give updates of my life. I've been updating Josh every time his character does something different.
Tell them about the last thing that I did.
The last thing I did today when I was playing, I'm trying to import people I know instead of just like fictional characters or whatever. So I'm like, I'll put my parents in the game. So the first thing I did is put my mom in the game. And before I can get my dad into the game, she goes, so they choose like a name to call you who is their god. So they call me the Divine One. And she goes, Divine One, I think I'm falling in love with Josh.
Jeff, this is just an instance of real life imitating art, or maybe art imitating real life, one or the other.
Which was funny because it was right after I added my dad, actually, and you can choose the relationships. And I said she was in a relationship or married to him, so I don't know. But I did not decide to let you go with my mom, Josh. Sorry.
Aw, well,
I know,
you broke my me counterpart's heart.
Say you broke the bro code.
No, I think bro code still stands if you're trying to keep your friends from getting with your mom. I think bro code is intact.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to. I'm sure as we go on through these weeks, I will give updates of what my characters have been doing. I'm still adding. I'm making it's just a silly game. I recommend anyone who has a Switch get it. It's on the original Switch. You don't need a Switch 2 to play it. It's just silly. It's one of those games you don't have to play a lot. You just check in for 5-10 minutes a day, or you can play for longer. They just keep coming up with things they want to do, such as I can give my Mies things, and I gave my brother's character a goldfish, and he immediately took it and put it in his pocket. I'm like, okay.
Thanks, Jacob.
So, all right. So let's go on because this is a supersized episode because of the movie. Luckily, or unluckily, I guess how you want to put it, there's no Pokemon news. I will say Pokemon Champions is out. I have not played it because it's not getting great reviews right now.
I read the
So
same thing.
I want to wait till it kind of gets more stable and see if it gets better. So there's nothing there. So let's go on to our question of the week. We have a few answers to that. And our question of the week last week was, what's a situation where everything kept getting worse in the funniest way possible? So Kate wanted to tell us about 15 minutes of her life. She said, baby is hungry. I sit him in a seat and put some cereal on his tray to tide him over until I prepared his breakfast. Baby doesn't want cereal, knocks it all the way to the floor while grunting, screaming in protest. Baby starts pounding on his tray for food while I'm putting up chunks of cheese, raspberry, and butternut squash for him. I put it on a smiley-shaped plate and bring it to him. Baby starts pooping. Take baby out of chair, bring him to potty. He wants to play with bathroom door, so he hits me when I put him on the potty. He poops, I cheer him on. Dog is now in the dining room, knocking over his chair to get at the cereal. She is now climbing up on my chair to try to eat the food on his plate on the table. I yell like a bear at the dog, who thankfully skulks into the living room. Baby hits me twice more for wiping his butt and putting him in a diaper. Baby is back in chair, and I put baby-proof plate on the tray and check to make sure it's sealed to the tray. I move his laundry from the washer to the dryer 10 feet away from him. He figures out how to break the seal on his plate and throws all his food on the floor. Baby is now pounding on his tray and grunt shrieking because he's hungry.
This sounds an awful lot like spending a day with Jeff or with me and Jeff.
You know, very often I go, Josh, let's go eat. I go, Josh starts pooping. But that is parenthood. It is crazy. And yes, anything, if you try to get like a baby gate, anything, they find the way around it. So Josh does not have kids, but she's talking about one of those plates that I assume the ones that stick to it, so they're not supposed to be able to lift it
It's
up.
got like suction cups on the bottom.
Yeah, those suck. They don't work like they should, or they don't suck because they. But yeah, that was Kate's situation. Manhunter said, one of my disaster stories is when I was delivering newspapers and we had a bunch of family over. There were cars all over the driveway and my car was in the garage, and I thought I could sneak my car past the others, but I scraped the side of my brother-in-law's car at like 1 a.m. So I texted him because I didn't want to wake up the whole house, and he texted me back and we talked back and forth and everything seemed fine. And when I was going back home, my wife asked about my day like normal, and I told her about scraping the car. She said she had already talked to her brother and he didn't get any messages. So I had the wrong number, and whomsoever I was texting with just was messing around with me. So I had to tell the whole story all over again when I got home. There was a little paint scraped off my car, and they had to replace the whole door on my brother-in-law's car. I'm going to be honest, Manhunter. I saw this in our Discord, and the first thing I read was when I was delivering newspapers, and I expected you to be like a kid, and then nope, you're
Riding around on your bike. A nickel? Paper for a nickel?
But nope, it looks like you were an adult, and you were delivering papers in your car. Then from the YouTube, Articuno said, for the question of the week, this problem won't sound that funny on here, but it was really funny in person. So me and my friend went to this area. It wasn't illegal to be there, but it wasn't really an area that kids should be at. So me and my friend were walking through it for fun, and this car came in front of us and turned its light on super bright so we couldn't see, and the car door slammed, and we ran in the opposite direction and hid in the woods for an hour until the car left. It was scary, but also kind of funny if it was in first person. You know, as kids also did stupid things like that. So I can relate.
Yeah. I can't say that I haven't hidden in the woods for a few hours before.
All right. And then we had some comments on some of our videos. We had a couple on our Beepin' Boppers video. Scoot said,
I'm so happy about this.
Scoot said, Eureka, I have caught myself a dang stinking Beepin' Bopper. And then Kate also said, Beepin' Boppers is the superior name.
Oh, I just love the term beepin' boppers, and I hope it catches on. They need to put I feel like some of their names, like some of the newer Pokemon names, don't have the magic that they used to. So I feel like they need to bring in some new blood.
Bring in some Beepin' Boppers.
Some beepin' boppers.
And then Manhunter replied to Kate about her kid and says, I tell everyone who is thinking of having a baby that it's 24-hour suicide watch until they're sort of smarter than a dog. My son used to climb out of his high chair while being buckled in. I caught him once by the leg from the other side of the chair when in one fluid motion he squirmed up out of the straps, tilted over, and was falling headfirst straight down. He's 15 now, and just a few days ago we were eating on the couch and our dog ate his food when we both went in the kitchen to get something. That's relatable. Yes, we cannot leave food around because we still have a puppy. He's a big puppy, but he's still a puppy, or she is still a puppy, only 6 months old. And then our last comment, BC West about the last episode said, finally Charizard listens. Looked like that rubbing really did work.
Well, you know what they always say, Jeff.
Guess that rubbing really worked.
And here's the funny thing, like looking at these comments, Josh, it tells you what our typical audience is, and it's middle-aged people like us or kids. Like there's no in between.
There's no in between.
It's so interesting just seeing the different comments come up.
Mhm.
All right, let's go on to our next segment.
Education.
All right, in this week's education, Kate said, I was part of a rotating team of high schoolers which worked alongside marine biologists to disassemble whales and other marine mammals to facilitate necropsies and recover the skeleton.
Okay, pause for a second. So I've been reading this book called The First 15 Lives of Harry August, and it's about a guy who he'll live an entire life, and then whenever he dies, he goes back to basically when he first had conscious when he's like 3 or 4 years old or something. And I feel like Kate is one of these people, just hearing all the things that she's done. And now one of her lives was lived disassembling whales and other marine animals.
Going on, she said, one of my teachers ran it and he was good friends with the head of Massachusetts Fisheries and Wildlife, so he used energetic teenagers to help take them apart. I disassembled multiple humpback whales, a right whale, a baby blue whale, and hundreds of dolphins. The way to do it takes hard work and experience. The tissue gets either buried or hauled out to sea, but that crew on the West Coast called him to find out how to do it. So what she's talking about is the group that blew up that whale. They actually called him to figure out how to do this correctly. He told them, but then they decided, let's just blow the thing up. She also went on, I didn't put it in our outline, but she went on, and if you go to the Discord, the whales she has disassembled or whatever are at some museum in Massachusetts. So
super cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So if you're ever in Massachusetts and you go to, I don't have the Discord in front of me, but go to that museum, you can see whales that Kate has touched with her own hands. She then also said, I also think O-Town was the inspiration for Four Town. Random trivia fact, though, Billie Eilish's older brother Phineas is one of the singers in Four Town.
Interesting.
All right. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Pokémon Snapshot or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for The Pokémon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms, and if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right, and going on to our next segment.
Previously on Pokemon.
All right, previously on Pokemon, after an encounter with a swarm of beep and boppers, Team Pikachu took a terrifying plunge down the sphincter of the forest in pursuit of a rolling Togepi, launching them into a wild rescue adventure set to an awesome O-Town theme song. While Squirtle tried to look tough in his Squirtle Squad glasses, but ended up looking like a pansy struggling up a tree, Pikachu and Elekid proved once again that a little fingertip rubbing always works to spark some electric teamwork. The game barely survived an impromptu musical number featuring Blossoms with a dance, a chaotic storm where Pikachu had to battle Zeus to deflect lightning, and a massive windstorm that blew everyone away. Their ultimate rescue rested in the hands of a Snorlax who literally dropped them midair for a quick snack before finally dragging a grimacing Pikachu up to safety, just in time to watch an Execute evolve thanks to a Leaf Stone bonking Psyduck on the head, wrapping up a chaotic day before Team Ash woke up safely back in camp wondering where their Pokemon went.
Excellent recap, Jeff.
You know, and when you put it all together, it was a wild episode.
Yeah, I was like, how did we even get from one thing to another?
Like
How did we
that's a
start in a place called the Sphincter of the Forest and end up at an execute evolving from a leaf stone that landed on Psyduck's head?
all right. So going into this week's episode, we watched Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One, or as it was known in Japanese, Revelation Lugia, which is 100 times better name.
Revelation Lugia is a better name?
I think so. Do you
Oh,
not
for
think
sure.
so?
No, I agree. The
Yeah.
Power of One sounds like it.
I think they probably didn't want to put a new Pokemon's name in the titles and make people go, "What's that?"
The Power of Lugia.
So this episode aired this movie was in theaters actually on July 17th, 1999 in Japan. My birthday, as we said last episode. It would have been my 11th birthday, or July 21st, 2000 in the United States.
In Japan, is this movie called Pokemon the Movie 1999? Revelation Lugia?
You remember the 2000, Josh. We had to add 2000 to everything.
We really did.
So going into the world news around the time, nothing's different from last week because this aired the same day as the episode. So I want to take a look at some interesting facts. So this movie debuted at number 4 in the box office. Its opening weekend, it made $19.5 million, which with a budget of $30 million, and made $133.9 million overall. And so why I'm bringing up those numbers? So after this, really, in the United States, there's only one more Pokemon movie that they put into theaters. But I think after looking at the drop off from Pokemon the Movie, the first movie, you can kind of see why they're like this. Let's just do these straight to video.
Yeah.
Because Pokemon, the first movie, opened at number 1 and made $31 million on a budget of $30 million. So it made its money back its opening weekend. And overall made $163.6 million, which is almost $30 million more than this one did. So you could see the diminishing returns as they were going through these Pokemon movies. So it'll be interesting to look at what happens when we get to the third Pokemon movie. All right, Josh, let's get into the episode.
This is Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One. The movie begins in a strange Stonehenge-looking location with a Slow King dressed in tribal garb, while some dude with green hair and some serious side curls explains the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning. He kind of looks like if a Hasidic Jew were a Final Fantasy villain, and we see him on his super weird-looking airship. And Jeff, I know this trip just started, but we're going to need to stop at like a gas station or a Dairy Queen because it's already time for a lore dump. I'm sorry to dump it on you so early, but it snuck up on me. Sorry about that. Can you explain to us what all we learn here in the opening segment?
Yeah, so in this opening segment, we learned that this man is Lawrence the Third.
Lawrence the Third
Yeah,
is how I hear
I'm not
his
even
name
gonna-
in my head.
I'm not even going to try to say a British accent. Nope. He is a Pokemon collector who collects rare Pokemon. His goal is to get the 3 legendary birds so that Lugia will wake at the bottom of the sea. He is following a prophecy which states, and I'll read the prophecy to you guys. It says, "Disturb not the harmony of fire, ice, or lightning, lest these titans wreak destruction upon the world in which they clash. Though the water's great guardian shall arise to quell the fighting, alone its son will fail, lest the earth turn to ash. O chosen one, into thine hands bring together all 3, their treasures combined, tame the beast of the sea." And of course, Lawrence III thinks that this prophecy is all about him, and that is his destiny to awaken Lugia, because what's a villain without being a little full of yourself? I did see the Japanese. So the Japanese prophecy, which is different. So I'll read that as well. The Japanese prophecy is, "Disturb not the god of fire, the god of thunder, or the god of ice, lest the heavens and earth become angry and the world heads towards destruction. The god of the sea will appear to stop the destruction, but will not succeed unless a great trainer appears to quell the god's wrath."
I think I like the English version better, although it could just be a translation thing.
It could be. So I don't know if we want to spoil it now, what's special about this prophecy, or we can talk about it when we get there.
Nah, we'll talk about it when we get there.
Okay.
Normally, I would say Lawrence the Third in a posh British accent every time he's mentioned. But since this is already a supersized episode, I'm just going to refer to him as L3. On the ceiling of L3's ship, there's some creepy looking pseudo-religious imagery that we're going to discuss later. And his computer explains that the legendary bird Pokemon Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno, which he calls Articuno, all hold the power he's looking for. The fire Pokemon Moltres is on the nearest island, but based on the map, all three of the islands are like a 20-second flight away from each other. So he could probably just get whichever Pokemon he wanted first, but whatever.
I will say his airship looks really cool. It really looks like Final Fantasy. It has all these propellers on the outside that I don't completely understand how it stays in the air. Honestly, airships don't make sense to me in Final Fantasy either, so
Yeah. We zoom out to see all of L3's ship, which it kind of looks like someone added propellers to the Colosseum in Rome. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. And his ship fires ice bombs at Moltres' island until the legendary bird Pokemon emerges. After a brief fight and some skillful dodging by Moltres, L3 goes for the cheap shot by sending out some electric traps that capture Moltres and bring it aboard the ship. He then reveals his plan to capture all three legendary bird Pokemon in order to bring out his real target, the beast of the sea, Lugia. And that means that it's time to roll the intro. I love the little guitar shred there at the end. But I am a little disappointed that they didn't get Ash to call out the name of the movie. Pokemon The Movie 2000, The Power of One. We finally catch up to Team Ash as the narrator explains Ash is about to have his greatest adventure yet. And I can only hope that this adventure is one of those into the great unknown. But since Ash is kind of like a cockroach in a nuclear holocaust, he's probably going to survive this movie too. Knotbrock wants to let all the Pokemon out of their Pokeballs and give them some fresh air while the boat's captain, some girl who also has green hair, takes off and takes us into a funked up version of the theme song. I really have to enunciate the funked up so Tipper Gore doesn't slap a parental guidance sticker on this episode and none of you kids out there get to listen to it. But we all know that none of you check with your parents before you listen to podcasts or play your M-rated video games anyway. Jeff, do you remember back in the thousands whenever you'd be watching TV and a commercial would come on and it'd be like, if check out our website, but be sure to get your parents' permission first.
Yep. But we never got our parents' permission.
No, our parents didn't know what we were doing on the internet, Jeff. They barely understand the internet now. I still have to explain to my mom how to attach files to an email.
I just think back, like I played games and believe me, I don't think it was right, but Grand Theft Auto before I definitely should have.
Oh yeah, kids are playing Grand Theft Auto before they hit puberty now. Anyway, can we get a quick sampling of that funked up theme song?
I was going to stop it earlier, but I had to get that master of them all.
Excellent.
And sorry, you guys had to hear my singing voice there.
Not Jeff.
So this remix of the theme song is performed by Youngtown featuring Nobody's Angel. I've never heard of either of these.
Me either. It's because we're Old Town, Jeff. While the theme song plays and Team Ash release all of their Pokemon, we also see Team Rocket making their way on their Magikarp submarine. As the theme song ends, the sky suddenly turns dark and Team Ash find themselves caught in a maelstrom. They recall their Pokemon just as Team Ash's boat, the Team Rocket sub, and a whole school of real Magikarp are swept away with the current. Below the surface of the sea, the mysterious Lugia senses a disturbance. It was really hard for me to avoid calling this Pokemon Hakalugia, but I have too much respect for the Guardian of the Sea to do that.
The Garden of the Sea.
The guardian of the sea. Boat Captain Lady tells Team Ash they're way off course, headed to Shamouti Island, which is a stupid name. So I'm going to call it an even stupider name. In the script, everybody, I hid the name that I'm going to call the island. Jeff, do you want to guess what it is? The hint that I'll give you is that it's not clever at all.
Shabooty Island.
It is Shabooty Island.
And I did not look it up, so
I believe you. I appreciate you using the honor system.
so that was not the name it got in Japanese. In Japanese, it was called Earthia Island, which is just a stupid of a name. I do want to say, what happened to naming? They're in the Orange Island, so shouldn't these have citrus themed names like everything else? I don't think Shamouti is a citrus. I can look it up though.
Yeah, I feel like the Pokemon Company really wasted all their good naming energy on the actual Pokemon and just let some interns name everything else.
Okay, so Shamouti is a type of sweet orange. I've been corrected.
Yeah. Kate, I need you to tell us about the time you traveled to some far off land and had a Shamouti, which I'm sure you've done. Meanwhile, Team Rocket spots what is SI? I don't know what my abbreviations mean.
Water spout. Sports Illustrated.
Oh, Shabooty Island. Meanwhile, Team Rocket spots Shabooty Island while spouting a bunch of puns like, do we have carp insurance? Because we're about to be filet of fish. Just classic Team Rocket banter. Over in Pallet Town, Ash's mom waters her garden while Mr. Mime sweeps the front yard. That's not a joke. Mr. Mime is literally just sweeping the lawn. Professor Oak stops by to compliment Ash's mom's green thumb, and I guess he would be the one to know what she does with her thumbs.
You're so bad.
I know.
I do want to mention that. Like, it pans over, you see inside of Ash's mom's house, and she has a picture of Ash, Misty, Brock, herself, and Professor Oak just hanging on the wall like it's a family picture. Is that weird? Because I think that's weird.
I don't know.
To have your kids' friends and the guy next door up on the wall like that. Like, I understand maybe her.
It's not the first time the guy next door has had her up on the wall. Out of nowhere, it begins to rain like it's El Nino. All other tropical storms bow to the power of El Nino. That's a very specific reference. And if you can get in the Discord or comment on one of our platforms and tell us where that reference comes from, I'll be very happy with you.
Kate probably knows.
Probably. It begins to rain like it's El Nino, followed by snow, and then a flock of Pidgey flying into the Aurora Borealis, even though it's summer. Then a herd of Diglett knock Professor Oak off his bike. And it seems like all the Pokemon are just absolutely losing their marbles. Professor Oak says Pokemon can sense when Mother Earth is angry, brah.
Yeah, and Ash's mom immediately comments on the snow. She goes, "Oh, look, it's snowing." But in the Japanese version, she actually thinks they are cherry blossoms. She says, "Oh, look, cherry blossoms are falling." But, us dumb Americans wouldn't understand that reference.
Well, us dumb Southerners wouldn't understand snow either. So Team Ash lands on an island inhabited by some creepy cannibals. Just before the cannibals begin the process of ritually sacrificing Knockbrock.
Did you have your fingers crossed?
I did, yes. Unfortunately, though. The leader recognizes Carol, the ship's captain, and it turns out they aren't some cannibal cult. For a moment, I thought our Tracy troubles were over, but no such luck. They discuss the upcoming Legend Festival, and Jeff, I'm sorry, but our tummy's still a little upset from earlier, so we made it just a small little lore dump. Really, this is more like the maintenance wipe of lore dumps.
All right, so they are getting ready for the annual Legends Festival. This is where they honor the 3 legendary birds. The elder tells them, and these are his exact words, "The ancient legend foretells your arrival, and only with you can the guardians of the waters vanquish the great titans of fire, ice, and lightning. In your hands, O chosen one, in your hands rest the world and its fate."
The new festival maiden, whose name is Melody, is the angstiest teenager of all time. She gives middle schoolers who listen to Pierce the Veil a run for their money. Ash says he is a Pokemon trainer, and the cult freaks out, telling Ash that he's the chosen one, meant to help Lugia vanquish the legendary bird Pokemon. Thankfully, the guy then reveals that the whole chosen one bit is just for the tourists, which is lucky for us because I don't think this Shabooty would be big enough to hold Ash's ego. For some reason, Melody gives Ash a welcome kiss on the cheek, and Misty is pissed. Melody immediately senses Misty's jealousy and decides to rub salt on the wound, which I appreciate. The cult does this. Oh, the Chosen One dance. I abbreviated Chosen as CO, but to me, CO means Colorado. The cult does the Colorado dance as they and Team Ash head towards the Legend Festival. The festival legitimately looks like fun, but Team Ash and the cult miss the festivities to eat dinner with the locals. Carol tells everyone she has Krabbies, and Jeff, can we get just a snippet of the old man's reaction to Carol's oversharing?
And she says, no, but I have Krabbies.
Krabbies.
I did not expect an STD joke in my Pokemon movie.
I know. Misty is still pissed about being called Ash's girlfriend, even while they're still at dinner. So I gotta explain the origin of pissed. So at school the other day, this is probably a couple weeks ago, we were it was like when we first started state testing, and there was some issue with one of the tests, and one of the teachers was mad, and she's like, she's kind of always mad, but like she's one of those that will hold it in, and then she'll just kind of explode at once, and you kind of just have to not laugh. But like you could tell on her face that she was upset, and somebody goes, "So and so, are you okay?" And she goes, "No, I am pissed." And so that's kind of been the joke around the school anytime something upsets us. I am pissed. The entertainment for tonight's dinner is Melody playing a song on a conch sail, and it's actually quite pretty. Jeff, can you grace us with some audio of Melody's conch, as well as her explanation of Ash's duties as the Chosen One?
She's a big show-off. Hear ye all! From the trio of islands, ancient spheres shall you take, for between life and death, all the difference you'll make. O Chosen One, you must climb to the shrine to right what is wrong, and the world will be healed by the Guardian Song.
What do I have to do?
All you have to do is get these glass balls from 3 islands. One from Fire Island, one from Ice Island, and one from Lightning Island. And you bring them to the shrine back here. And then I celebrate by playing this song. Then it's over, oh Chosen One.
Okay, get me a boat and I'm ready.
Oh, there's no hurry. You have all day tomorrow. Tonight's just for the party. Stay, have some fun.
Well, some things are more important than fun. I'm Ash, the Chosen One. This is serious. I gotta be responsible.
That's a switch.
Yeah, so Melody was explaining that the Chosen One must go and retrieve the orbs of fire, thunder, and ice and bring them back to Shamouti Island so that the water titan can be reborn, or something like that.
Something like that. As you heard, Ash is way too hyped on being the Chosen One, even though he knows it's all part of Shabooty Island's tourism industry. So he heads off in Carol's boat to do Chosen One things. You know, the problem with Chosen Ones is that they always manage to come back from the dead. Neo from The Matrix, back from the dead. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, back from the dead. Harry Potter, Jesus, all back from the dead. Just once in this very specific instance, I would love for the Chosen One to stay dead.
Don't forget, Ash has also died twice as well.
Yeah, he's like a double secret Chosen One. Nearby, Team Rocket approaches Shabooty Island in their busted submarine, only to be capsized by Carol's boat. They see Ash and Pikachu on the boat, but not before the waves send them tumbling. Meanwhile, a weird talking Slowbro, it's actually a Slowking, but I'm stupid and I've thought it was a Slowbro this whole time. A weird talking Slowking stands in a cave as rain begins to fall. Jeff, can you give us some background on this Slowking as well as some audio of its creepy speaking voice?
All right, so I'll start with the audio.
Disturb not the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning. Oh, what a mess.
I don't like when other Pokemon aside from Meowth talk. It feels like black magic or something.
Yeah, it's always weird. So yeah, this Pokemon here, it was actually a brand new Generation 2 Pokemon they revealed. It's what Slowpoke evolves into a Slowking if you trade it while holding a King's Rock. I think the lore also states that a Slowpoke evolves when a shelter bites onto its head and not its tail, hence the crown rather than the giant tail of
Yeah.
like a Slowbro.
Yeah. It's like the
Though-
Slow King's crown.
Yes, they never explain why the specific Slowking can talk.
Yeah. I don't like it. It feels weird. It feels wrong. As the storm picks up, Melody feels guilty for sending Ash to certain death, but the larger issue here is that Ash is definitely, totally, completely, and absolutely not Misty's boyfriend. He's a boy and he's a friend, but he is not her boyfriend. So you got that, Jeff?
Yes, I understand.
Are you sure? Because Misty really needs us to understand that. They set sail out into the open ocean to try and save someone who they know is not even the real chosen one. Like, I feel like Ash's mom would have grounds to sue if something happened to Ash, because everyone has admitted, it's on record, that the whole chosen one thing is just something for the Shabooty tourism board cooked up. Team Rocket manages to make it onto Melody's boat somehow, and then we get a brief news report that both the Island Cult and Professor Oak and Ash's mom watch, explaining the meteorological anomalies that have occurred recently. Jeff, can you explain to the good people what is going on here?
Yes, I'll explain. But can I also say I love your continuing to go with the bit and just calling it Shabooty Island every time.
You got to commit to the bit.
Yeah, so the news reporter explains that weird weather phenomena are happening all around the globe that is due to something deep beneath the surface of the ocean. Pretty much there is an underwater river, which that makes no sense to me. Isn't that just a current?
I think so.
That has snaked its way, they say, around the entire planet.
Professor Oak gets a call from Professor Ivy, who says their Pokemon are freaking out, and we get a real Brock cameo as he runs around screaming while he's holding some freaked out Pokemon. But unfortunately, this is all we see from him for the entire movie.
Also, Professor Ivy looks like she just got done smoking the Vileplume.
She also sounds like it, too.
Like, I don't know what her voice actor thought there. Like, they just think it was funny and then it was kept in.
Yeah. The storm finally ends, but the waters get rougher, sending Ash's boat crashing onto a nearby island, which happens to belong to Moltres. Pikachu takes off running towards the middle of the island with the zeal and survival skills of a toddler. Back in the open ocean, Melody and Misty bond a bit over their love of the ocean, just as the waves send Melody's boat flying. The boat does a backflip, but Melody, Misty, and not Brock manage to hang on, while Team Rocket goes flying towards Moltres' island. They finally dock their boat on the island, and Carol tells them where Ash went. I realized here that her name isn't Carol, but it's too late. We're not going back to change it.
What is her name? Do you even remember?
Boat Lady is
Boat
all
Lady.
I know her as. Yeah, she's Carol. It doesn't matter. Carol is Melody's sister, but yeah, she was unnecessary. Carol tells them where Ash went. Just as Melody's boat is about to slip off the rock, she activates its sail to reveal that it can fly for some reason.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere. And not even does it fly, she uses it to fly up the stairs.
Yeah, the physics here make zero sense.
At that point, why even use it in the water?
Yeah, it'd probably be way more safe than going through the choppy ocean. Pikachu leads Ash to the center of Fire Island, where they find the fire orb. Obviously, Ash has never watched the Indiana Jones movies because he removes the orb without a second thought. Fortunately for him, nothing happens other than fire glowing inside the orb. Team Rocket appears, ready to do Team Rocket things, but Melody's flying boat puts an end to their treachery. Melody berates Ash for going out on the sea at night, and this seems pretty reminiscent of Misty's lecture, so I guess Ash does attract a certain type of girl. There is some really funny relationship banter between both Team Ash and Team Rocket here, so Jeff, can we get some audio of both?
Guess who, Pikachu?
Huh? Was that?
Prepare for more trouble than you've ever seen.
And make it double. We're on the big screen.
I'll have to catch this on video. I'm in a hurry here, and the weather's looking bad.
It has been bad. Isn't that always our luck? But our luck's changed, and our ship has finally come in.
Well, I hope you're happy, Mr. Hero. If you'd just listened to me in the first place and stayed at the party like I told you to, we wouldn't be stranded out here on this island.
Welcome to my world. I have to deal with a stubborn attitude every single day.
Oh, you'll get used to it. It's just something you're gonna need to work on when the two of you get married.
Take that back!
Listen to me, kid. When you get involved with the opposite sex, you're only asking for trouble.
Yes, and that's the kind of trouble I stay out of.
Yous two don't need the opposite sex because you got each other.
What does that mean?
Funny.
I love Meowth's diabolical laugh there.
Yeah, I will say I always love a good fourth wall break too. So that was
Acknowledging they're
fun.
in a movie.
And not acknowledging they're in a movie. Josh, I did look it up while this was going on, and the green-haired girl's name is Marin, but you weren't off by calling her Carol because there is a character named Carol. It is the lady that
it's
greets
Melody's
them.
sister, isn't it?
Yeah, Melody's sister is Carol. The green-haired lady is Marin.
Well, she's getting called Carol for the rest of this episode. So suddenly Zapdos shows up, and you're going to have a lot of audio in this episode, folks. So just prepare yourselves. Jeff, can we get some audio of Zapdos's cries? It's the best. But imagine the cries went on over and over and over again. I just imagine some dude in a sound booth screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, I try to get some audio where he's doing different, like multiple, but he really only does one at a time, and then there's a bunch in between.
Yeah. What happens next is one of my favorite scenes from the whole movie. Pikachu uses its electricity to link up and communicate with Zapdos while Meowth translates. Pikachu is like, bro, why are you even on Fire Island and where is Moltres? And Zapdos is like, which roughly translates to finders, keepers, losers, weepers. And then Zapdos uses a word that I do not approve of and will not repeat. Suddenly, an enormous lightning storm from the sky engulfs Zapdos in the island. It's L3, whose ship is absorbing Zapdos' power to make it easier for him to capture. In the process of capturing Zapdos, he also captures everyone else on the island. Jeff, I need an audio clip of Zapdos' screams as it tries to escape L3's electro traps.
It's even worse when you don't have.
I know, one more time.
So this isn't nearly as funny if you're watching the video and it like sounds okay, but then when you're just listening to the audio, it just sounds like a guy screaming.
It sounds like a dude getting murdered. On the seafloor, Lugia is pissed, and this seems like as good a time as any to go into.
Who's that Pokémon?
All right, and our Who's That Pokemon for this week is Zapdos.
I love Zapdos. Zapdos is for sure the coolest legendary bird Pokemon to me.
But I will also play his game sound effect, which I did.
Not nearly as good.
Not nearly good as So I know you guys are probably like, well, why is he not doing Lugia? Because Lugia is kind of the big reveal. And since we already talked about the name, we know Lugia's in this movie. And it's because, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit, Lugia actually is a main Pokemon in a like 3-episode story arc in the Johto saga. So I thought, we'll do Lugia there and we'll just do Zapdos here.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you said that because I had that question about why we weren't doing Lugia here.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, there was like no Pokemon revealed in those, so at least one of those episodes I can get a Pokemon that's actually in the episode. So I picked Lugia.
Okay, cool.
For those ones down the line, but that won't be for a
I
while.
approve.
So yeah, and Zapdos's Japanese name is Thunder.
That's lame.
If you remember when we did Jolteon's Japanese name was Thunders.
That's really lame.
So some basic information on Zapdos. It's number 145 in the Pokedex. It is electric and flying type, but it has a Galarian form, which is fighting and flying type.
And it looks sick.
I do like Galarian Zapdos. It looks like a Roadrunner or something.
Mm-hmm.
They are both 5 foot 3 inches tall, and the regular version weighs 116 pounds, and the Galarian version weighs 128.3 pounds. In its category, it's known as the electric Pokemon, for the regular version and the strong legs Pokemon for the Galarian version, and it does not evolve. Zapdos' origin, its name. Zapdos' English name is a combination of zap and dos. The word zap is an onomatopoeia associated with electricity or a sudden burst of electric energy, immediately tying the Pokemon to his electric type identity. Dos is the Spanish word for two, indicating Zapdos' position as the second member of the original legendary bird trio, alongside Articuno, Uno, 1, and Moltres, Trace, 3. Together, the name essentially means an electric bird number 2, blending elemental identity with its place in the trio. Its Japanese name, in Japanese, Zapdos is called Sanda. I probably murdered that, which is simply derived from the English word thunder. Thunder refers to the sound produced by lightning, reinforcing Zapdos' connection to storms and powerful electrical phenomena. What is Zapdos based off of? So Cantonian Zapdos. Cantonian Zapdos is primarily based on the Thunderbird, a powerful creature from indigenous North American mythology. The Thunderbird is said to create thunder from the beating of its wings and lightning from its eyes or beak, making it a direct parallel to Zapdos' role as a storm-bringing electric-type Pokemon. This influence is reflected in Zapdos' spiky, jagged design, which resembles lightning bolts, as well as its association with thunderstorms and high-energy environments. Rather than simply being a bird that uses electricity, Cantonian Zapdos embodies the idea of a living storm, much like the Thunderbird itself. Its bright yellow coloration, sharp angles, and aggressive silhouette all reinforce this concept of raw, untamed electrical power. I believe the Thunderbird is one of the houses or something in the American Hogwarts, right? It's been
That's me.
since I've watched the Fantastic Beasts movie, but I think so. Galarian Zapdos. Galarian Zapdos, on the other hand, shifts away from mythology and is based more on real-world flightless birds, particularly the ostrich and the secretary bird. I did look up the secretary bird, and it does kind of look like a Galarian Zapdos. Its long legs, powerful running ability, and ground-based combat style reflect these animals, both of which rely on speed and strong kicks rather than flight. The secretary bird, in particular, is known for striking prey with precise, forceful blows which align with the Galarian Zapdos' fighting-type moveset. While it lacks the electric typing of its Cantonian counterpart, it still represents the concept of lightning through its incredible speed and explosive movement. Its sharp features and aggressive posture maintain the same sense of intensity as the original Zapdos, just expressed through motion and impact rather than electricity.
The secretary bird looks cool.
I can see it yelling like Zapdos. Zapdos' biology. Zapdos is a large avian Pokemon covered primarily in bright yellow plumage. It has small triangular eyes set against black markings and a long, thin, light orange beak. Its wings and tails are composed of sharp, spiky feathers with black plumage lining the back of its wings and inner tail. A prominent crest of jagged feathers frames its head, giving it a striking lightning-like silhouette. Its thighs are tan and its thin legs are light orange, ending in feet with 3 forward-facing toes and 1 backward-facing toe, each tipped with a short talon. Rarely seen, Zapdos is described in an illustrated book of pocket monsters as a divine bird that dwells among thunderclouds for centuries before descending with lightning. The beating of its wings generate powerful electrical energy, often triggering thunderstorms. As it flies, it produces loud crackling and snapping sounds believed to be caused by lightning discharging from its body. Zapdos is said to appear only during thunderstorms and grow stronger when struck by lightning. In battle, it can channel electricity into its talons, and it has even been shown communicating with other electric-type Pokemon through lightning itself. In The Power of One, Zapdos is described as helping regulate ocean currents, and its capture leads to a catastrophic imbalance. Highly territorial, it has been shown overtaking entire regions in pursuit of dominance. When working alongside Articuno and Moltres, it is even said to be capable of challenging a lone Lugia. Like other legendary Pokemon, Zapdos has been seen inhabiting places of great significance, such as the Paradise of Laqua in Pokemon Horizons, the series. It has also been known to enjoy treats made by Snacksworth, who once witnessed it in flight. Shadow Zapdos remains the only Pokemon capable of learning Shadow Bolt. Zapdos also has a regional form, Galarian Zapdos. In Galar, Zapdos takes on a dramatically different appearance. Its body becomes red-orange with black plumage, and its face features sharper yellow eyes set within a more pronounced mask-like pattern. Its beak is shorter and black, and its neck is longer and more visible. Its legs are significantly longer, darker, and more muscular, built for speed and power, while its talons are yellow with red rings at their bases. Its wings are smaller and less developed, with faint black markings reminiscent of its Cantonian form, and rows of spiky feathers run along the chest and back. Unlike its electric-type counterpart, Galarian Zapdos is aggressive and constantly seeks out strong opponents to test its strength. Its powerful legs allow it to deliver devastating kicks capable of destroying heavy machinery, and it can run at speeds of up to 180 miles per hour across rugged terrain. Its wings have atrophied to the point that flight is nearly impossible, but its sheer speed has been compared to a lightning strike. The crackling sound produced by its feathers rubbing together earned it the name Zapdos, despite lacking true electrical abilities. It is a migratory Pokemon traveling the world, but occasionally returns to the Crown Tundra, where it gathers with the other legendary birds at the Dyna Tree. Galarian Zapdos is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Thunderous Kick. All right, some Pokedex entries on Zapdos. Red and Blue says, a legendary bird Pokemon that is said to appear from clouds while dropping enormous lightning bolts. Pokemon Yellow says, this legendary bird Pokemon is said to appear when the sky turns dark and lightning showers down. Pokemon Stadium says, a legendary bird Pokemon that appears with gigantic thunderstorms. It flies with the buzz and crack of electricity.
For this to be a legendary bird, I feel like they would have put a little bit more effort into the Pokedex entries.
Yeah, just that. Yeah, it's an electric type. Isn't this all electric Pokemon?
I know. And it flies. Isn't that all birds?
Yeah, not very original.
Yeah.
Gold says this legendary bird Pokemon causes savage thunderstorms by flapping its glittering wings. Pokemon Silver says this legendary bird Pokemon is said to appear only when a thundercloud parts into two halves. Pokemon Crystal says legendary bird Pokemon. I just like how that's not even a full sentence. Legendary bird Pokemon. They say lightning caused by the flapping of its wings causes summer storms. Ruby and Sapphire say Zapdos is a legendary bird Pokemon that has the ability to control electricity. It usually lives in thunderclouds. The Pokemon gains power if it is stricken by lightning bolts. Fire Red says one of the legendary bird Pokemon. While it is flying, it makes crackling and snapping sound. Pokemon Sword says this Pokemon has complete control over electricity. There are tales of Zapdos nesting in the dark depths of pitch black thunderclouds. And then Pokemon Shield says Zapdos is a legendary bird Pokemon. It's said that when Zapdos rubs its feathers together, lightning will fall immediately after.
Guess that rubbing really worked.
Where you gotta rub those feathers together.
And then we have a couple from Pokemon Sword and Shield for the Galarian version. Pokemon Sword says when its feathers rub together, they produce its crackling sound like the zapping of electricity. That's why this Pokemon is called Zapdos. I already did a joke. I'm not going to do it again. And then Pokemon Shield says one kick from its powerful legs will pulverize a dump truck. Supposedly, this Pokemon runs through the mountains at over 180 miles per hour.
That seems like a really specific thing. Did they test it on a dump truck?
Yeah, let's just say it can destroy a dump truck. We don't need to test it any further. And then some trivia on Zapdos. Zapdos and the other two legendary bird had Australian beetle species named after them. Benburum Articuno, Benburum Zapdos, and Benburum Moltres. The three species were first described in 2020 and were collectively named after the legendary birds to reflect their rarity. And that is our Who's That Pokemon segment on Zapdos.
Who's that Pokemon?
Back in the movie, Misty berates L3 for treating Pokemon like collecting stamps, but it's kind of like, ma'am, the catchphrase of your entire IP is gotta catch them all. Scientists literally invented a device to help you catalog and store all the Pokemon you collect, most of which just sit in a dusty box somewhere. This makes me wonder if they've ever done a story where they find like some old Pokemon in a dead dude's attic that contains some super rare Pokemon or something. If not, they should, and they should hire me to write it. I wouldn't even ask that much. Just match my teacher salary and pay for my health care or my health insurance, and I'm good.
I will say I had the exact same quote in my notes. Like, wait, gotta catch them all. That's it. Doesn't Ash have like 30 tourists he never does anything with?
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? At least this guy's using them. He's showing them off.
Yeah.
So you said about this old Pokeball or something. So in Johto, they're going to kind of explore this idea. They find a Ninetales that is waiting for its owner to return, but the owners like from hundreds of years ago, or it might even be 1,000 years ago. So, but we don't get to that episode in a while. But they do kind of explore like finding an old Pokemon like that.
Okay, interesting. L3 continues that he is actually just a Pokemon collector, a passion that started with collecting Pokemon cards. I love the synergy here. This whole movie is just one big ad for selling Pokemon cards. Do you remember like several episodes ago, I mentioned that like the whole idea of collecting cards and stuff came from when people would collect like baseball cards or whatever that they got from buying packs of cigarettes?
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've always thought how funny it would be if like the only way you could get Pokemon cards now were in cartons of cigarettes and like the types of commercials they would have. It's like say, kid, do you want a holographic Charizard? Then buy a pack of Lucky Strikes and you too can breathe fire.
This makes me think of, have you ever seen that Flintstones commercial for Winston cigarettes?
Think so, yeah.
Yeah. It has the Flintstone character smoking cigarettes because back in the day, they could advertise. This was even before our time. They could advertise cigarettes. So with Lawrence III, he mentions how it all started with the ancient Mew card. And I remember that they actually gave this card out at the movie theaters as a promo. I used to have one of those, so I guess I must have seen this movie in theaters.
I definitely did not see it in theaters. The only one I saw was the first one. And my dad fell asleep in it, and he never took us back to see another one. So I want to talk a little bit more in depth about the villain here, because his ship is really interesting, not only because his technology borders on magic, but because he almost seems like some sort of religious fanatic. So the ceiling in the giant room is painted in like the Renaissance style, similar to the Sistine Chapel, like the ceiling at the Sistine Chapel. It just doesn't have as many naked dudes. So Jeff, what could you find about L3? Because I looked pretty much everywhere, which is like one or two websites, but I could barely find anything about him, which is honestly kind of disappointing.
So there isn't a lot about him besides him being in this movie. He did used to go by other names. So in other media, like if you put on the subtitles, they called him Galardon, which was what he was called in Japanese. And then, I don't know, this was a random fact I found. In the novelization of the movies, because you remember when kids' movies used to have books that was based off of them too?
Back when kids read books, yeah.
And it was always, I'm going to go on a tangent here, but it was always interesting because the books always gave more detail than the movie did because they had to fill out their page count.
Oh, yeah. Do we need to explain to the Zoomers what a book is?
If you think we need to.
It's like TikTok, but it's all words on physical pages.
So in the novelization, they used the name Lawrence III, but on two occasions, the thing I saw said they accidentally call him Stealthiest for some reason.
Just like a mistake.
But there's nothing about him. I do want to mention that he lets T-Mash out here to walk around and look because he has a museum of creatures, kind of like the Collector in Marvel, though his creatures, he's still catching all his creatures.
Yeah. So as they look around, L3 leaves on his super cool lifted throne thing that I guess takes him from like the museum area up to the control center. His computer says that Articuno is changing course, and we see it freezing the entire island and the ocean, although it's not clear for what purpose yet. Meanwhile, Professor Oak, Professor Ivy, and Ash's mom are flying on a helicopter following what seems to be all the Pokemon in the world, who are headed to the Orange Islands, which is where the cradle of the ocean is located. We could probably do a lore dump here, but I think we can hold it for now. I think we can hold it till the end of the trip. Professor Oak basically explains that if fire, ice, and lightning are knocked out of balance, it could somehow flood the whole world. I don't really think we need to dive too deeply into the pseudoscience of it all, so just accept it for what it is. Professor Ivy adds that all the Pokemon are headed that way due to the impending doom they feel from their acute connection to nature. If it gets real, they want to be there to stop it.
Yeah, so I did want to go over what he exactly said. So this is what Professor Oak tells us. He says, near Shabooty lie the islands of fire, ice, and lightning, home to the legendary birds Moltres, Articuno, and Zapdos. I fear that they are somehow involved. Ancient writings from many different cultures name this area, specifically the islands of fire and ice, as the cradle of the ocean, the source, if you will, of all the waters of the world. This has been disputed by scientists for centuries, but it does make some poetic sense when you consider what forms when combining fire and ice. Well, imagine if an imbalance of power occurred between lightning, ice, and fire. Here's potentially how underwater current has formed. If the balance between the powers of Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres were somehow disrupted, it's conceivable that a powerful underwater current, this churning beast of the sea, could in fact emerge from the region and ultimately flood the entire planet. And before we go on, I do want to mention, so he's like writing in his notebook. Honestly, it's what he's writing makes no sense, like of what he's saying, because they cut out 18 seconds of the Japanese version here
Hmm.
and just kind of cut between different scenes, which I don't understand why you would just cut that out when you could. I feel like that's an area you didn't even have to. From my sources that I looked up, like the Japanese version goes through a whole different story and goes more into detail, which you could have just kept in.
Yeah. Then Ash's mom gets all sappy about Ash being in danger, and it's like, lady, you let your 10-year-old son out into the world with bees the size of bears. This is kind of your fault. Also, if Ash is this Pokemon world's Jesus, does that make his mom the Virgin Mary? Because let's be real, Professor Oak can tell you that that certainly was not an immaculate conception.
You also forgot to mention there is this weird cut here. It cuts to Slowking, and all he says is, "I could use some pants."
Ooh, that was a good one, Jeff.
Was it?
Yeah,
It's that
that
voice
was
acting
pretty
class.
good, yeah. Yeah.
It's that voice acting class I've been taking. I'm
Yeah.
working on my voices here. I could use some pants, which makes no sense. And I don't know why they changed this, because in the Japanese version, he just says, things are getting bad. If you were going to cut out a scene, this probably should have been the one cut, not the 18 seconds Professor Oak explaining what is going on.
Right. On L3's ship, Team Rocket and Team Ash, who I will refer to as Team Rash or Trash. Which one do you prefer, Jeff?
I like trash.
Trash. Okay. On L3's ship, Trash frets over the possibility that the prophecy is coming true. Can we get some quick audio of the exchange between Meowth and James here?
What if the ancient legend is coming true?
If it is true, all intelligent life will be destroyed.
That's right.
And I'll be...
You will be fine.
I love that.
I do too. Meowth's delivery was fantastic. Trash decides to free Moltres and Zapdos, who are still trapped in their electric cages. So Ash runs headfirst into the cage and is quickly zapped back, which begs the question, who chose the chosen one? Like, I'm not sure if God exists in the Pokemon universe, but I can tell you that this is no intelligent design. Down in the ocean, Lugia jumps into action, spinning up an underwater tornado, which is apparently called a benthic tornado. I did do some research for this episode. Articuno shows up, so L3 starts blasting missiles at it, while Trash try to free Moltres and Zapdos. After using all their Pokemon at once, they finally free Moltres, who then frees Zapdos, who then attacks Moltres, who escapes out of a blasted hole in the ship.
Does it ever explain why the three legendary bird are fighting?
Is it pride? Is it just like bragging rights, basically?
Yeah, my guess here, I just think, is it because they cannot coexist with each other?
Yeah, that's based on some of the stuff that when Zapdos was on Moltres' island was like, I don't remember exactly what Zapdos said, but he was like finders, keepers, losers, weepers. It felt like...
I'll tell you exactly what Zapdos said.
Okay, please do. I don't know why, but I thought you actually had his speech pulled up ready to go, but I'm so glad you didn't. This is one of the coolest scenes in the movie as Moltres and Zapdos fly around L3's ship, fire and electroblasting it until it crash lands on Lightning Island. As it comes to rest, Melody's getaway boat lands in the water. The crashed ship lands on the island shrine, causing the lightning orb to land in front of Ash, who picks it up. As Trash makes their great escape on Melody's boat, the three legendary bird Pokemon begin aerial fighting like dragons in Game of Thrones. The boat flies off a waterfall and seems like Trash is done for, but Lugia's tornado comes out of the water and catches them, carries them to the shrine where the Slow King has been waiting for the first 45 minutes of the movie, and tosses the boat up on the mountain. Team Rocket and a lifeboat are safely flung to another part of the island, but Team Ash narrowly escapes as Melody's boat falls to a canyon below and is destroyed. The Slow King tells Ash where to stick the treasure, but it ain't where the sun don't shine. It's just a nearby shrine. Like I said, I really don't like the Slow King. It freaks me out. Unfortunately, Ash only has 2 of the 3 necessary orbs, so he's going to have to go to Ice Island and get it. As the legendary bird Pokemon battle comes closer, Ash tells them to cut it out like he's Uncle Joey from Full House.
Love that reference. I am a huge Full House fan.
I hate Full House. I think that show is awful. It's like the cheesiest show I've ever seen. I need
That's
a
what
little
makes
bit
it so
need a little bit of
good.
edge. But Ash is shielded from the legendary bird Pokemon blast by Lugia's tornado. Like the itsy bitsy spider, Lugia comes up the water spout to face the 3 legendary bird Pokemon. And I've got to be honest, Lugia rules. Lugia is one of the coolest Pokemon I've seen. While Melody notices that Lugia's cry is similar to her little conch flute thing, it begins battling all 3 legendary bird Pokemon as L3 watches from afar, his eye on the prize.
Yeah, and it took her a bit to realize at first. At first, she's just like, what's that sound? Come on, it's the song you've been playing all movie.
Yeah. As Trash watches, Melody quotes the prophecy. Though the guardian of the sea shall arise to quell the fighting, alone its song will fail. Thus the earth shall turn to ash. And that's a little A ash. Eventually, Lugia is defeated, and the 3 legendary bird Pokemon continue their fight as the entire world population of Pokemon converge near the island, ready for action. Slowking repeats the part of the prophecy about the earth turning to ash, but then they realize it's a big A ash. So apparently this 1,000-year-old prophecy was talking about the kid who just ran headfirst into an electric cage.
All right, so I said this earlier, and I want to talk about here because I mentioned the Japanese prophecy. So, I mean, his name is not Ash in Japanese, it's Satoshi, named after Satoshi Tajiri, the creator of Pokemon. So the English version
he self-inserted himself into the story.
I don't know, because he wouldn't have been. He probably had nothing to do with the anime. So
Okay.
they would,
Yeah, that makes sense.
They would have named it after him. But yeah, so the English version, they just decided to shoehorn the word Ash into it to make it make sense instead of just saying, a trainer chosen.
Right.
But as we know, Pokezeus knew that the only one person would be stupid enough to do this. That's a callback from when we first.
Oh yeah, Pokezeus,
the
one to rule them all. Oh wait, no, that's the Lord of the Rings thing. Ash wishes his mom had named him Bob instead of Ash, so he wouldn't have to do Chosen One things. But if he did that, then it would say, though the guardian of the sea shall arise to quell the fighting, alone its song will fail. Thus the earth shall turn to Bob.
Turn to Bob.
Melody plays her conch shell here, which restores Lugia's strength, which is kind of the effect music has on me, so I'll allow a little Deus Ex Machina here. Lugia explains it needs the chosen one's help to tame the beasts above and below the sea. Apparently, only the chosen one can make the ice orb glow, but Ash is afraid of failure until all of his Pokemon come out of their Pokeballs to reassure him. He sets off towards Ice Island, but it's slow going at first until he stumbles upon the wreckage of Melody's ship. They pull off a large metal piece to use as a sled that is pulled across the frozen ocean by Charizard, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Honestly, not a bad idea from the chosen one.
Yeah, I did like, and as he's like trudging through the snow, he goes, I feel more like the frozen one.
As Team Rocket watches and laments not being heroes from a nearby cliff, the helicopter holding Professor Oak, Professor Ivy, and Ash's mom crashes onto the island. But unfortunately, everyone survives. However, Team Rocket has a great idea when they notice that the helicopter's blades still work and will attach perfectly to their life raft, so they decide to be heroes. Ash, his Pokemon, and Lugia battle their way to Ice Island, but they don't quite make it before Ash is knocked off his makeshift sled. And for a moment, it seems like all is lost until Team Rocket comes rushing in on their makeshift motorboat. Jeff, can we get audio of their motto with a little extra at the end?
If that kid thinks we're here for trouble,
We're certainly going to burst his bubble.
instead of causing tribulation,
We've undergone a transformation.
though it's way outside our usual range.
We're going to do something nice for a change.
Ha! Jesse!
James!
Up till now, Team Rocket's been quite unscrupulous.
Being good guys for once would be super dupulous.
You want to help?
Of course!
We don't want the world destroyed.
Even if we survived,
There'd be no one left to steal from.
we'd be out of work.
Come to think of it, when was the last time we had a vacation?
We'll be on a permanent vacation if we don't get to that island. Let's do it!
Team Rocket is the best.
They are the best. I do want to make a note here. So, as you said, Ash is being pulled by Charizard, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. The birds break apart the ice, and he's about to plummet like over the edge. And so, Charizard can fly, but we have Squirtle and Bulbasaur there as well. Ash returns Charizard and lets the other two just fend for themselves.
He doesn't want to risk getting Charizard pissed again, and so he stops listening to him. Team Ash hops into the motorboat, and they finally make it to the island and all the way up to the shrine. Ash pulls out the orb, which begins to glow in his hand. Trash tries to leave the island, but the legendary bird Pokemon destroy the motorboat. As they haul Ash down the mountain, Lugia flies by and tells them to hop on his back. Team Rocket just manages to grab onto its legs before it flies away from the mountain. Lugia employs evasive maneuvers, but Team Rocket realizes they're weighing Lugia down. Can we get some audio of Team Rocket's final moments here?
We're slowing Lugia down. The three of us are too heavy.
Let's try Weight Watchers.
It's too late for that.
I heard it's never too late if you really stick to the program!
If we don't let go, they may not make it back.
Let's protect the world from devastation.
Guess we gotta let go.
Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
What are you doing?
Team Rocket's blasting off for good!
Team Rocket!
Think we did the right thing?
I know we did the right thing, Jessie. And it feels great.
Well, this is it then. Let's not say goodbye.
Let's just say...
We're gonna die.
That conversation is happening as they're falling through the air towards the frozen ocean. That Weight Watchers joke is my favorite joke in the whole movie because it was so topical for the time. Like, right around that time, my parents were doing Weight Watchers, and they did Weight Watchers off and on for years. Mostly off, but, sometimes on. I've said many times that Team Rocket is my favorite, and them sacrificing themselves to save the world from devastation is absolute cinema.
Yeah, this is why Team Rocket are the best. They are usually even more likable than our protagonists.
Fortunately, Team Rocket doesn't die, but crashes into the only part of the ocean that isn't frozen, which happens to be in front of the multitude of Pokemon who have gathered just in case it gets real. Ash asks Lugia why the Pokemon are there, and Lugia says they don't know. But if even one Pokemon can help, then it's worth the journey for all of them. But today, the one who can make the difference is the chosen one, Ash. Just as Lugia, Ash, and Pikachu near the Orb Shrine, L3 attacks, but Lugia is too strong for the Electro Clamp things and lasers everything, including the Flying Colosseum and all of the legendary bird Pokemon. Unfortunately, that isn't enough, and Lugia plunges into the depths of the sea. And now all the Pokemon are ready because it's about to go down. Melody tries to give Misty the conch to play Lugia's song as if Misty has any musical ability whatsoever. But Misty gets a little misty-eyed and says she'll be the one to help Ash. He's never alone because he'll always have her. And the only thing I have to say about that is, it's like when I see my 8th graders hugging and kissing in the hallway. Disgusting. Misty swims out into the ocean to rescue Ash, and Knockbrock pulls them in. As water spouts and lightning rage across the sky, Team Ash revives Ash, who conveniently still has the ice orb. I'm going to guess he stored it in his prison wallet. I don't know where else he would have put it. Ash makes his way to the Orb Shrine with the help of his friends, stopping like every 5 steps to take a break. Like, bro, the fate of the world literally rests in your hands, and you're stopping like a Southern Belle who's got the vapors.
He must have skipped leg day just like Josh did.
Yeah. At least he's not wearing a crop top. Finally, Ash places the orb in its spot, and the entire Earth begins to glow in Technicolor as gamma-ray green liquid pours out of the shrine before freezing, covering everything in ice. Melody plays Lugia's song, and the green liquid covers the entire Earth. Are these kids on some mystical island or at Bonnaroo?
I mean, considering Melody is literally playing a magical flute solo on a giant glowing stage to calm down 3 screaming birds and a psychic sea dragon, it basically is a mystical music festival.
That's literally, like, I hope that's what heaven is. It's literally my dream. The legendary bird Pokemon are calmed, and eventually Lugia's water spout returns, and Lugia along with it. Lugia stops by to pick up Ash, and as they fly, a giant water spout rainbow covers the Earth. The score during this scene is especially uplifting, and as the legendary bird Pokemon follow Lugia, the other Pokemon begin to return home, which I guess is okay, but I really wanted to see like a giant Pokemon brawl. The orchestration fades back to just Melody's conch, which finishes the final notes of the song. This entire section is another one of my favorite parts of the movie. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and it's beautifully animated as well. The colors in the sky look amazing. Definitely having that movie budget has helped.
For sure. As the sun begins to fade, Lugia thanks Ash for his part in restoring order to a chaotic world before returning to the sea. Ash's mom, Professor Oak, and Professor Ivy show up after climbing down the mountainside. Professor Oak complains of his lumbago, but his back injury isn't from hiking. Ash's mom starts berating Ash for saving the world and putting himself in danger, as any mother would. She requests that the next time there's a world-ending cataclysm, just make sure it's a little closer to home. Professor Oak says they need to get back to Pallet Town and tell all the other Pokemon researchers about what just happened. But we all know what's going on here. Professor Oak isn't going to let this near-death experience and when you get that adrenaline running and he's around Ash's mama and Professor Ivy, he's not going to let that go to waste.
Hey, baby, the world could end at any moment.
Hey, ladies, the world could end at any moment. In the wreckage of his flying Colosseum, L3 finds his original Mew card, the first card he ever collected, and says his new collection will begin the same way it began. Judging by the tone of his voice, it seems like perhaps he has changed his ways. As the movie ends, Team Rocket comes face to face with the Slowking, who breaks the fourth wall again by looking at the audience to tell Team Rocket that millions of people saw their act of goodness. And to close our episode, Jeff, can we get audio of their conversation?
Who'd believe it?
For once, we were heroes.
Too bad nobody saw us.
Guess again.
Huh? What did you say?
Lots of people saw what you did out there. And all of them are watching you right now.
Oh, then I guess the bad guys.
Are finally...
Good guys.
So then we're not bad.
That's good.
What if the boss finds out?
That's bad.
We'll start our own team.
That's good.
But we got no money.
That's bad.
Then we'll just steal some.
That's good. Or is that bad?
And that takes us to the end of the episode. So
Yeah, so the credits roll. Sorry, I got to put this in here, Josh. The
No, you're
credits roll. So that's when we get our title song, The Power of One, sung by none other than Donna Summers.
they got Donna in on it?
Yes, this is during the then after that song is played, they take a hard left turn and play Pokemon by Weird Al.
I did not stay around for the credits.
I did not. I only heard the little bit of Donna Summers until I did my research. I didn't realize they also played. I do like the song Pokemon. I used to be able to sing that one. And then
Nice.
the last song during the credits was Flying Without Wings by Westlife.
Nice. Wow, Westlife. That's definitely an early 2000s band right there.
Yeah. So what did you think of this movie?
So after watching the movie twice, I think my final score is an 8 out of 10. There were several things that I loved. Team Rocket getting to be heroes, Lugia and all of the legendary bird Pokemon were awesome. I really enjoyed the animation and the score, and all the action scenes were great. I thought Melody was a good addition to the team, and I really liked her giving Misty a hard time about liking Ash, but there were a few underdeveloped aspects of the movie, which is why I deducted some of the points. The whole Professor Oak, Ash's mom, Professor Ivy, Menage a Trois storyline was interesting in parts, but it was pretty underdeveloped. But probably my biggest complaint about the movie is how much wasted potential I thought there was with Lawrence the Third. There seemed to be so many interesting things about him on the surface between his flying Colosseum ship and the whole techno religious fanatic thing he had going on, but he ended up kind of just being like a boring dude who just wanted to collect rare Pokemon. Like anyone who's ever played the Pokemon games has tried to collect all the rare Pokemon, and none of us are that interesting. So I thought, as far as Pokemon movie villains go, I thought Mewtwo was a much better villain, but overall the good for sure outweighed the lame.
So I wrote my review up and I realized we did hit some of the same points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with a solid 7 out of 10 for this one. It's definitely a fun, nostalgic ride, but if we're being honest, it just doesn't hit those same incredible emotional highs as the first movie. Don't get me wrong, Lawrence III is a really interesting villain. As you said, the idea of a wealthy, eccentric collector zooming around in a giant flying aircraft just to hoard legendary antiques and Pokemon is a great concept. But compared to Mewtwo's deep existential crisis from the first movie, Lawrence just doesn't feel nearly as intimidating or impactful.
Yeah, for sure.
I also felt like they completely forced Ash's mom, Professor Oak, and Professor Ivy into the plot. It really seemed like they were just shoehorning in recognizable adult characters. It almost felt like they were putting in as many characters as they could, so like the adults watching in the crowd could be like, "Oh, I recognize those from when my kids watching the show." Instead of all those new characters, they literally crash land a helicopter onto Ice Island, and then Delia's only real contribution at the end is scolding Ash for being reckless, right after he literally saved the entire planet from destruction. So they didn't add much to the actual adventure and just bloated the story, in my opinion. But no, it was a good movie. Like, I'm curious to see the farther we go, because as I said, the next movie is the last theatrical release in the United States. Like, do the movies get worse, or where Pokemon was losing its popularity, so they just didn't want to spend the money.
Losing steam.
So it will be, because I know the fandom will say, like, when we get to Hoenn, even further than that, if we get that far, like, people really like those series. So once we get past Johto, I've seen some of Hoenn, but I really start losing my knowledge here, and I'm going to be just like Josh.
No, we can't both be stupid, Jeff. You're really stepping on my territory here. I'm supposed to be the stupid one.
All right. And so going on to our question of the week, and since Lawrence III was a big Pokemon collector, he collected rare Pokemon, we just kept this one simple, and this episode's already going really long anyway. And the question is, what do you collect?
Oh, I wonder what you collect, Jeff. It's not
I don't have any collections.
It's not like we can see your collection if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah. I collect Pokemon Funkos, Nintendo stuff, Amiibo. Yeah, I have too much stuff.
Yeah. I collect records. I have probably like 250 or 300 vinyl records.
Yeah, I also have a collection. It's out of the frame there. If I point over there, there's a whole shelf of like 100 board games.
Yeah. I guess my wife and I collect dogs too.
You do kind of. So you're kind of like Lawrence III collecting real life creatures.
Gotta catch them all.
All right. So if you want to answer this question, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Pokemon Snapshot, or send us an email at thepokemonsnapshot@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok. Just search for the Pokemon Snapshot. We post short clips on both platforms. And if you'd rather watch the full episode, the complete video is available on our YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying the show, leave us a rating on your favorite listening app so other Pokemon fans can discover the podcast. All right, Josh. After all that, do you have anything else to add?
I didn't have anything to add before we started the episode, Jeff.
All right. So please join us next time when we will be watching the Pokemon Water War.
We all live in a Pokemon world.